Migrated and is that low increase or something?
It's been very,
It's
been very busy.
What I say is that.
It
was for me, but.
You'll have the apparatus, closure, plus you'll have the living quarters, temporary staying. In between, they'll be wading through the mud to get to the end of the draining at night.
The goal's not to have that.
It was right, that's what's happening.
Yeah.
That's where we have to change. What we were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Jeffrey's easier to look at because of the science. Someone with that background. Yeah, so.
Well, you got two things, really have, a feel from the actual pad, from the water, looks like where you smell it right now. It is. I don't know if that's written, but.
The curve is
Now,
very specific.
that's easy.
There's also a curve.
Oh, there is.
We've added mitigation to that.
Have you?
Yeah, so now some of that's gonna be on this next item, so why we're gonna supposed to add that consent item, doing the asphalt. We're going to look at, we're gonna put some
We'll
curb.
have asphalt and then you fix that.
Yeah, and then they're gonna have them put their an asphalt
Well,
curb.
since he's not here, then there's.
Yeah. Yeah, so we looked at it, and I'm like, that's not fair, the water's gonna go into that apparatus base. They're gonna-
Okay, good afternoon. Welcome to Coastside Fire Protection District Board of Directors Regular Board Meeting, February 25th, 2026. Roll call, please, Chief.
Director Cockrell.
Here.
Director Cheryl. Here. Director Hannah.
Here.
President Burke.
Here. Thank you. Please join me with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have any members of the public who would like to comment at this time? Hearing none, we'll move on to the consent calendar. Do we have a motion to approve the consent calendar? So
Seconded.
moved and seconded. Any comments? Roll call, please, Chief.
Director Cockrell.
Yes.
Director Cheryl. Yes. Director Hannah.
Yes.
President Burke.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0, absent. Director McKinney.
Do I have any notes or any changes that need to be made to the agenda? Jane?
Yes, I'd like to ask that you add one item to the agenda, and this is something that came up after the agenda was posted. Sean Rose is here to address it, but what we're asking is that you consider a resolution authorizing an amendment to your contract for the temporary fire station for some additional work that falls outside of the contingency that was set aside, and we're asking you to do it this evening because the contractor is still on site. It makes sense for you to be able to consider that this evening. Under the Brown Act, to add that to the agenda, I would need a 4-0 vote to add that, and then Sean will deliver that report before you're asked to take any action.
Okay.
So may I ask for a motion to add this to the agenda?
So what is the amount?
He'll explain all that. He's
Oh,
not approving
okay,
anything, this
yes,
is just to put it on the agenda, and then he'll run through all that.
Vote. Aye.
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 Oh,
Thank you, 4-0, so we will add that as part of the regular open session business this
okay.
evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on. We continuing business update on the wildfire prevention zone 0, Chief Wilson.
All right, so zone 0 will be seen by the Board of Forestry at the beginning of March. So no specific update on that yet, but that is coming. And then some positive news with some communication back and forth from the folks and Caltrans and the RAM group. Sounds like Caltrans either received a grant or some additional funding in which they're going to apply to do some hopefully additional fuel mitigation on the right of way. So that there's no specifics yet, but it sounds like there's some positiveness coming forth with that. So excited about that. And that is the update
Good
for
news.
wildfire prevention.
Thank you.
Yeah. Chief Wilson, while you have the floor, how about just an upgrade on the temporary new station?
I'm gonna turn that over to Ms. Priscilla there.
Okay, so on the tip station, power schedule will be turned on March 5th. That's waiting for PG&E, so that's when they're able to get out there and turn on the power. The communications for radio dispatch and alerting is they're about halfway done, but they can't continue without power, so they're anticipating to have give us a day of just waiting for power, and then they'll jump back in there and get that finished. So mid-March, they'll be completed. The internet and phone is already connected, so that's completed. And then we have the change order item that we're looking to address with Andrini for adding a few items for asphalt and some privacy fencing. And then we'll need to get an encroachment permit with the county once we're finalized with this to just have the asphalt go to the road, which that's a fairly easy permitting process for that if that's approved by the board. Continue. And then there are multiple county permit closeout items that are small things that the county asked for before they close out the permit. So they like to have either seeding in certain areas for erosion, or they want hay down, certain things like that, which Andrini's already provided a lot of that stuff. So they just have to come and inspect it and make sure that the water's not going to erode all the dirt away, because that is a sloped lot, if you guys have seen it. Overall construction is complete, and we should be able to move in by mid-March once the telecommunication stuff is done. And then we're just looking to have the crews right now. I'm having them, I addressed a few items that we need for living in there. There's no dishwasher provided for that, and it needs to be a freestanding dishwasher. We can't do a built-in one, so we're looking at ordering that right now. And a few other items like a TV stand and a few little things that we need just to make it livable for them, things that we can't bring from the old station. And then we should be ready to go by mid-March, hopefully with move in, as long as all this stuff goes as planned.
Thank you, Chief. Questions, comments?
That.
And this is the point at which we also asked that Sean Rose deliver to you the staff report on the item that we have added to the agenda, which would be an action item for you. So I'll turn it over to Mr. Rose.
Sean, you're on.
Thank you, everyone, and board members and staff. So this item before you that was added is for, as Gene said, this is a contract amendment for Andrini, who, as Gary just mentioned, is the construction contractor and is, as you're well aware, for the temp station work. And so, Andrini's been working under the contract that you approved back in September. Their contract amount was, it's in the staff report, but that was $535,000 was their bid. As you recall, we got multiple bids. They were the apparent low bidder after. And so we moved forward with the award. And then we had you also authorized a 15% construction contingency to that amount for unforeseen items. We've spent about 74 of that as of right now. We've got this additional work that Gary referenced. There's two main items that are in the change order that we're asking you to, or the additional budget we're asking you to authorize for Andrini. One is to the fencing and gates are already up. If you've seen it, you've seen there's the chain link fence all the way around the site. Our plan was to put privacy slats on just one side of the gate, or sorry, the fencing, and it was on the west side facing the private residence. Since that's gone up, the property owner has reached out to us asking if we could put that privacy fencing around the entire site. And then I think that's something that the fire staff would prefer to see as well. So with that input we got a price from Andrini to put that privacy fencing on the chain link fence and gates all the way around the site. So it would basically provide the three sides that don't have it now would have that privacy slat material. So that's the first item. And then the second item is paving. Right now, what was approved in the final plan was to put aggregate base rock, which is compacted material, and it's certainly drivable as a temporary road from California Avenue into the apparatus bay for not only the apparatus but any traffic in and out of the site. The input we got from fire staff, though, having seen that in place, is to authorize a change order to pave that with asphalt. So this other part of the change order would pave with asphalt from California Avenue, a new driveway apron into the site, and then underneath the entire apparatus bay. So that's the additional work before you. Those two items, the paving and the privacy slats. But the total is $53,400 per the proposal that's attached to the staff report that you have. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Question.
Thank you so much for your report, Mr. Rose. is, these are not change orders, right? These are actual improvements. Tenant improvements, if you will, to the site after the fact, is that right?
Well, they would be authorized through the contract with Andrini as a change order. But in order to move forward with that, you know, we would need your authorization to increase their contract amount to accommodate it. But they would be processed as an additional change order for Andrini.
But I guess my point is that Andrini's not requesting this. This is something we are asking them to do. Is that
That's
right?
correct. That's correct.
Thank you.
Yeah, after looking at the site and taking the fire engine and parking it in there and looking at the weather we have, we originally thought that road base compaction would be suffice. Over like the engine weighs over 40,000 pounds. Then we have the guys going in between the station and apparatus bay, basically in the dirt and mud all winter long. And we just thought, you know what, we should probably look at upgrading this, and then also would help us divert some of that water to the swell that they put behind the station. They were going to put some asphalt curbs also, so we can actually divert that water where it actually needs to go instead of just kind of running and dissipating across the mud into the station area. So that was our thoughts of kind of upgrading it after seeing it.
I would suggest that you or anyone has any questions, just drive by and have a look at it. It's pretty easy to see exactly what's going on here, but nothing like being there looking at it to give you a better feel for it.
Exactly, thank you.
Sure.
My concern was change orders, but that's not really technically what it was.
Yeah, we're just kind of, after seeing it, we were trying to save the district money on the initial thoughts, and then after actually seeing it in place, we realized it's not gonna be beneficial. It'd be better to try to pave it if possible.
Perhaps I missed it, but what is the cost of doing all this?
He said the 53,000 was for the asphalt.
53,400.
Yeah.
Okay. This is probably a little bit off, but it never occurred to me, let's say the new station is built. Do we have to pay to take all that material down that's in the temporary location?
I believe that's what Joe wants. That was the intent with for the property back to its original state, right? And then some of it Joe might want to keep. He discussed with us, but I think that was negotiable at the time. But the original contract was to put it back to its original state.
That the fencing, he'd like to keep.
He'd like to keep
The
the
swale.
Yeah.
Drainage, he'd like to keep. We need connections from the street, he'd like to keep. So basically, the asphalt probably has to be removed.
Okay. Just never occurred to me in the past. We need to vote to do this.
Yes, we're asking you to approve a resolution authorizing the amendment of the contract for temporary fire station 44 site improvement work with Andrini Brothers and increase the amount of the award by $53,400.
I make a motion to approve.
A second.
Discussion. Roll call, please, Jane.
Director Cockrell,
Yes.
Director Cheryl,
Yes.
Director Hannah,
Yes.
President Burke.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0-1 absent. Director McKenzie.
Thank you very much. Moving on to new business, introduction of amendment ordinance number 2015-01, setting compensation for board members at 220 per meeting. Attorney, Jean?
Yes, good afternoon. At your last meeting, as an informational item, you talked about the fact that you are entitled, under the applicable statutes, to increase your compensation by 5% each year for meetings which you attend. And under your policies, that's limited to 2 meetings each month. You have not taken any action on this since 2023. And so you directed that we bring back to you an amendment to the ordinance which controls this in order to allow for you to increase your per meeting compensation from $193 to $220. That's not 15%, which you are entitled to. That's about 13%. But that was the amount that the majority of the board at the last meeting thought was the appropriate amount. So you have in front of you an ordinance amendment, which if you wish to move forward, should be introduced. If this is introduced tonight, we will bring it back to you at your next meeting for approval. And the new rate of compensation will not go into effect until August, because that is a year, like a full year from when you did the last one 3 years ago. So I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions? I'd like to open the meeting to any public comments. we have anybody who'd like to speak on the subject? Hearing none, I'll close the public meeting. I just make comment is that first of all, that some of the items that being mentioned, we restricted to 2 meetings, even if you attend 2 meetings, like a finance meeting and a board meeting on the same day, that's 1 meeting. You know, that's that, you cannot get 2 meetings on a day. The thing that I kind of look at is that in the past, this board did not increase its minimal compensation for years. And at the time we did face the issue, if you will, the percentage increase was thousands, I forget what it was. It caught the public and the intention. It wasn't in dollars, it was nothing. But in terms of the percentage, it was. And I think it's much more practical to keep that reasonably up to date. We are by no means have the largest or the most expensive compensation by any means at all. And by the way, any board member who thinks this is excessive does not have to take the money. Is that correct, Gene?
That's correct.
Okay. Any questions? Then I make a motion, we do need to vote, right?
Yes, you need to introduce the ordinance.
I make a motion to introduce the ordinance or amendment to ordinance 2015-01.
So I believe the new ordinance is 2026-01.
That's the one we'll adopt later, but this is the one we're amending.
Oh,
This is the old one. Okay. I made the motion.
second.
Oh, second. Any further discussion?
Oh, yeah.
Roll call, please, Gene.
Director Cockrell?
Yes.
Director Cheryl?
Yes.
Director Hannah?
Yes.
President Burke?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0, 1 board member absent, board member McKinney. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on, tab 3, California Fire Code, Chief Wilson.
All right, so this is the second reading of the proposed ordinance for adopting the California Fire Code, the 2025 edition. Staff recommends that the Board of Directors hold a hearing on the proposed ordinance, conduct the second reading, and then adopt the proposed ordinance. If adopted, this ordinance will take effect 30 days after. And a little background, the fire code is adopted every 3 years. That brings forth changes that have occurred over those 3 years, technology, advancements. This includes chapter 7A, which was before kind of the wildland urban interface portion, is now its own chapter within the fire code. So some changes, nothing of significance. We have no specific amendments for COSIDE, correct? That are for this cycle,
I mean, any change?
correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's adopted as proposed. And happy to answer any questions. We have 2 of our subject matter experts there to happy to answer any questions.
Questions? There, as I understand this, there are some pieces of this lengthy document that are particularly apply to us here in the coastline, right?
Correct.
We've tailored it to our needs.
But we take the fire code,
You,
when we take what the fire code doesn't provide locally, and we have that in an ordinance.
I see. Questions?
Are you pleased with this version?
It. As the chief said, the 7A was a little bit wild, some of it was in the building code, some of it was in the residential code, some of it was just in an MPA, and now there's an actual chapter. In the fire code that addresses a lot of the things in the ordinance that we had to do on our own.
Before we move on, I'd like to open the subject up to a public hearing. Does any member of the public like to speak on the changes or the adoption of the fire code? Hearing none, I'll close the public meeting. And do I have a motion to approve adoption of ordinance 2025-05? Is that correct?
Yes.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Moved, seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call, please, Gene.
Director Cockrell?
Yes.
Director Cheryl?
Yes.
Director Hannah?
Yes.
President Burke?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0, 1 member absent, board member McKinney.
Moving on, tab 4, do an approved recommendation to award contract for a water tender, Chief West.
Yes, thank you. What in front of you is a staff report with a recommendation to award a contract for one Pierce Manufacturing stock international 2,100 gallon water tender to Golden State Fire Apparatus in an amount not to exceed $634,603.45. Some background on this, late last year, there was discussion on whether or not to add a water tender to the fleet and into the district. So staff was directed to provide a staff report on the benefits of bringing a water tender to the district. That report was given in December, highlighting the benefits of adding a water tender to our fleet and the increased capability of our service delivery within the district. And we presented an estimated budget of $750,000 with that report. Staff was further directed to come to this meeting with a proposal to purchase the water tender, and so that's what is here in front of you. Unique opportunity with this particular purchase is several times throughout the years, Pierce does what they call stock inventory vehicles. They put a specification out, they put it in the assembly line, it gets built, and then it's available on a first come, first served basis to any agency that would like to purchase that vehicle. And the benefit of that is you don't have to wait 4 years to get it. So there were a few of these stock units available when we were discussing this, and there still are a couple available. The way the stock process works when we get in, if we do move forward with this and we get in early enough, we are still able to make modifications to that list before they start building it to further meet the needs of our district. So that is a consideration that is included in this proposal. We put a $50,000 contingency specified in the cost of this water tender, and that allows us to make modifications, making sure it's painted the same color as the rest of our fleet. There might be a couple other modifications that we may need to do based on the preliminary specification. It also allows them to purchase radios for us and install those, and those are at a cost. So with this water tender proposal, also we would be able to purchase it through Sourcewell, a cooperative contract process. It's the same process we use for purchasing the fire engines, and it allows a contracted pricing that also satisfies all the requirements, legal requirements for receiving bids, competitive bidding, and contracts of this nature. And we would be able to purchase this vehicle as outlined in the specification. The price that's being quoted is good until the 27th of this month. And so part of the reason for the short time frame is that first come, first served basis with the stock option.
Okay,
So
thank you, Chief.
yes.
Questions, comments?
It's a very thorough response. Congratulations to you and your staff.
If we say yes today, when would it get there?
So if we said yes to this, we would be able to take claim to one of those stock units, and then it would no longer be available for purchase. We would, within the next few weeks, have a preliminary meeting with the representatives to finalize the specifications, and most likely we would receive this water tender before the end of the year.
Oh, good.
Wow, excellent.
I have just a
Few questions, sorry.
Yeah.
What would the price be on a normal circumstance, just ordering it, aside from it taking longer potentially?
I
I mean, it's
still,
the 27th.
yeah, so I when I gave that initial report back in December, I gave a up to $750,000, and the idea was roughly about 600,000 to 750,000 as a range. And honestly, why there's such a wide range is it depends on what specifications you actually want on the water tender. So if we didn't go with the stock option, but we still wanted to pursue a very almost identical vehicle, 2,100 gallon water tender, which is what the committee wants. It would probably still end up being around the same cost, but we would have to stand in the production line and it would get drawn out over a couple of years. That would mostly be the difference.
Right, because the 634 and change is without modifications, so modifications will take that price up to closer to the 7.
No, I'm sorry. So that this includes a $50,000 contingency that allows us to make the modifications. So the actual price of the vehicle is $577,559. But once you add the contingency, I'm sorry, that 577 even includes the 50. So really, we're looking at about 520 for the water tender itself. But then when you add the contingency plus all the applicable sales taxes and everything else, that's how we get to 634. So this is a not to exceed amount.
Yeah. Okay. Lastly, did we ever have any discussion, or did we get any information in regards to like the overall, need? I mean, it is a good thing to have more water. Don't get me wrong. It's a good thing to have the right equipment when you need it. Don't get me wrong. But it's worth asking, like, where are the other water tenders in our area, and where would they come from? If we haven't had one for decades. But I'm sure when we needed one, there's been one. And by adding this one at a cost of this district, is it with the benefit analysis, from spending that much money on a piece of equipment?
Let me mention one thing regarding that. The subject of the water tender, purchasing water tender, has been on the agenda of this organization numerous times. And every time we got close to doing it, we had some other financial priority that put it back and so forth. But I think the knowledge that we could use it, and it would be a great thing to have available, came with priority in my mind with Southern California. And the fires that went on there, and we've kind of advanced the subject to the point it is now. And if we need to do it today, but we're not going to be able to delay it again under these conditions.
I just brought up the same question that I asked the last few meetings, and haven't received any real data or answer to that. 2,100 gallons is great when you have nothing, but it's you could have 10 water tenders and it wasn't going to solve LA. So it wouldn't necessarily solve what would happen in a large format fire here either. So I just want to make sure that we're spending money that makes sense. And how many water tenders are within 20 miles of here that would come and help if we needed it? That's kind of information I wanted to see before I felt comfortable voting for.
Yeah. So operationally speaking, you have La Honda Fire, right? Volunteer department, Kings Mountain volunteer department, and then you have Station 58, which is staff. So they'll crowd staff it, and then Woodside Fire would come over to help us. So those are the water tenders that are in the general area that come to assist us if they're available. And then for us, we have a lot of unincorporated, non-hydrogen areas within our district that's coastside that we don't have water, so we're relying on other resources, right? So our thoughts are to have our own water on initial attack is key, right? So we're just looking at that option of being able to provide water as initial attack and not relying on the other agencies to provide the water for us for, Higgins Canyon, all the Verdes, all that stuff, and all the unincorporated non-hydrogen areas that we do have in the district.
Anything else?
I've got a question. And if it's here, I'm missing it. How many axles?
2.
This will be 2 axles.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so typically anything over 2,100 gallons, you have to add that second layer. Yes, and so this kind of ties in also with what Director Hannah was asking with capabilities. We have the other water tenders within the other agencies that can respond. But what this does is it gives us a more maneuverable, slightly smaller water tender, where La Honda is a 3-axle, 3,000 gallon water tender. So adding this complements the system as a whole. With the water tender group, it allows us to have extra water that we can bring relatively early on in the incident within the district. And the 2 axles and the lower weight allows us to be more maneuverable with some of the tighter areas. There's some limited off-road capabilities with this vehicle, where the larger water tender, you pretty much have to keep it on pavement the entire time.
Yeah, so okay. I remember back when they had that big gas fire. in San Bruno, they had a water tender from La Honda. Well, that took forever to get there.
Yeah,
And I'm sure they would like to have had them closer, but that's the one they ended up with.
yeah.
So I'm just thinking that in our district, it's our these areas that you spoke about. Yeah, we can get one from somewhere else, but how long do you want to wait for it? And they might be committed before they even come to our fire. They might have their own fire. It seems to me, since it's not going to put a financial strain on the district, I think that it would.
And a lot of the times what happens when we request a water tender. From some of those other neighboring agencies, they've already responded with a fire engine to the same, say it's a vegetation fire, for example, or structure fire, they're already responding with a fire engine. So now you're hoping they have additional volunteers, maybe to show up to staff the water tender, or like even Station 58, once that engine responds, the water tender is no longer staffed because the engine's responding. And then Woodside Fire, obviously they have the 8492 challenge of trying to come over to help us. Any time of day it can take an hour, you know, depending on traffic and the time of day.
It does bring up a good point though, as far as staffing is concerned. Obviously, we do have a volunteer network, but putting that aside, just as worst case scenario, if there aren't any volunteers available to drive the vehicle that require to be sure certification to drive. Would just someone jump off an engine and grab it? I mean, how would that work? Our staffing levels are just enough, you know, that's why we don't always have a ladder or a rescue at a scene.
It'd be very similar to kind of, we would have to really look at the minor details of this, but it's the same if we use Rescue 40, that vehicle is going with one of our other fire engines cross-staffed. If we use the Type 6s, Type 6 vehicles, and so it would essentially be the same format, either but it goes in tandem with one of our paid fire engines, or the volunteers, some of the qualified operators that they can drive a fire engine, they can drive this vehicle. They would be able to take it.
So we would take district zones based on hydrogen or hydrants or not hydrants, trying to make a new word there. And then that call type would have a requirement if it's a cross staff or not, so it would call for both of them. And then one thing to think about with this is the reflex time. So if the district has their own water tender, it'll have portable tanks on it. So that can go to the scene, drop its water and start that rotation while the water tender group's coming in place. So you have a current constant flow of water in those non-hydrant areas. Then if you were waiting for water tender to come from, say, La Honda to set up a tank if you have a break in service of water, you're able to get quicker knockdown or extinguishment on the fires, depending on what
That's very interesting. I didn't realize that you dropped the
I
tank.
hadn't thought of it.
Yeah, there's
You know, your pool.
yeah,
At the side.
and there's different, there's, you know, unfoldable, there's self-filled bladders, but those can roll down topography.
All right, no swimming in it.
Well,
Only good side.
Here's a question from someone in the audience.
Yeah,
No diving for sure.
Just a comment, I think this is a unique example of the strength of this contract in CAL FIRE for their operational knowledge. And then the mix of staff that has been in this agency before the contract, that I think this is a very trusting recommendation. Because if anybody knows how to, what's needed in this community and operationally how to use it and deploy it, I think this is a good choice for the board.
Thank you. A real minor question, the color of this thing is gonna be the same as the other ones.
Yeah. Yes.
You can't have yellow.
How about purple? It's supposed to be non-green.
So I have a motion to have it to enact a by the value of the water tenders. And by a water tender, the amount not to exceed $634,603.45. Do I have a motion?
Second, I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Moved and second. Any further discussion? Roll
I just
call.
wanted to say thank you though. I just wanted that information ahead of time before we're actually voting on spending the money. For any kind of apparatus and understanding how the district can utilize it, so. Yeah.
Thank you for your preparation.
Yes.
Roll call, please.
Director Cockrell?
Yes.
Director Cheryl?
Yes.
Director Hannah?
Yes.
President Burke?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0, 1 absent. Director McKinnon.
Thank you very much. Moving on to item D, consider for approval a resolution declaring seasonal weeds a public nuisance.
Solutions, yeah.
I'll take it. So this is the annual ordinance that the district does. This is where the district works with the San Mateo County's assessor parcels and identifies properties that can have a public nuisance. We declare those and then through dates, so property owners are allowed a chance to address the board on April 22nd of 2026 this year. If they feel their property does not constitute a public nuisance. And then if the weeds are not removed by May 9th, the district may proceed with abatement. And then that is put on the tax roll of those individuals for the cost of the weed abatement.
Thank you, Chief.
Yep.
Comments, questions?
So this is quite a list. What percentage, just ballpark, would you say are people owners who are gonna just take care of this? So as to reduce this list?
Are you asking me?
Yes,
I would say if we got 50%, we'd probably be doing pretty good.
okay. So we cut this job down by 50%.
Good.
I haven't looked at the exact numbers, but I think we have a lot that would qualify as needing to be done. Of course, we keep it trimmed, almost like it's lawn, but if we don't, it would definitely grow out.
Well, yeah, we don't
Yeah.
normally address it.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just weeds that have been kept short, that's all.
Right.
It's not like we planted a wood out there. Thank you.
Let me, is this the action on this item that is unique to the Coastside Fire District? The question is,
You mean statewide?
yeah, this is statewide.
No, I would say it's statewide. There are other districts that have weed abatement programs in place to mitigate.
At one time in the past, and perhaps I'm mixing up some ordinances, they had a discussion on the value of having a weed abatement on the coastside. And at least predecessors had made the remarks that it had very little value in terms of prevention. And that sparked a discussion as to whether we should do it or not. First of all, let me tell you that I will support it. I think it is, but we're somewhat unique in having this particular ordinance in place, but it's a good ordinance. With that, I make a motion to approve resolution 2026-03. We have a second. Second. Further discussion. Roll call, please, Gene.
Director Cockrell?
Yes.
Director Cheryl? Yes. Director Hannah?
Yes.
President Burke?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0, one absent, Director McKinnon.
Moving on to Finance Committee report, the spreadsheet is in your packets, a public document to take a look at. It appears solid and good condition. I would point out just a couple of items in it. That one is that through the month of January, we're some 67% of revenue projected in our budget, or 26% of expenses, but that reason it's so low is because we have not yet received the latest CAL FIRE contract, so that is the missing item. But as far as that, I mean, there is nothing that I would call the attention. I did take, just for personal curiosity, take a look at where we were a year ago in terms of our general fund with San Mateo County. We were a little over $10 million at that point in time. Today, the same time period, we have $13 million in that particular area. And if you look at LAIF, we have the major funding for the new station and some other items. A year ago, that category was at a little over 16 million. Today, it's over 19 million. That may sound like good news, but I'm holding my breath till I get a price on the new station, because it may not be adequate, but at least from a year-to-year basis, it looks very positive. That's it. I have no other comments on the finances. Anything else? Moving on, volunteer committee, Director Cockrell, Director Hammond. My notes here.
I attended the volunteer business meeting on the 5th of this month. The discussion of the there's some stuff that relates to the Hampton Bay Volunteers, it's a 501c3. They're currently accepting applications to be a volunteer to be open until the end of February. And we'll have an orientation on March the 6th and 7th. This is the operation portion of volunteers is the part we're concerned about. One of the things in their training is they're considering bringing up Chief Lord for 1 day of training. To be discussed. I suspect we'll hear about that later on. They had training on the self-contained breathing apparatus ladders. They had the recurrent for current volunteers. The volunteers now have new radios. They'll be getting trained on the new radios. Christmas Eve and Christmas, volunteers staffed an engine and to give the paid guys a bit of a break, and it was very good for them. They had a group go over to the high school to discuss being firefighters as a profession. They're making them aware of exactly what the firefighters are expected to do. They discussed the 24-hour shifts and things of that sort. One of the things that came up with discussion is the discussion about a vacuum cleaner here. They said they would be asking the board of directors for a new vacuum cleaner. And so at that point, I made the comment, when you're trying to tell us that our vacuum cleaner doesn't suck. Anyway. I don't know, that could be a big deal, but obviously this is something that not only the volunteers use, but
We don't need a report.
Yeah, we're gonna go back and report.
I was just aside.
New
Don't put that in the minute. Anyway, that's the extent of
Patrick, did you have anything?
Nothing to add, I've been a little tied up in myself.
Okay, very good. Land and Structures Committee, Director McKinney is absent, Director Cheryl, do you have any?
I think we've gone over a lot of it, but Chief Silva.
Yeah, we went over the
anything
10
else?
station. We don't really have a whole lot to update on the permanent station, but I'll just write down some notes so I can speak on it. So basically, the project's still under building permit review by the county. So PBK is preparing for a permit resubmittal where we plan to request a conditional permit approval, which if granted by the county, we could bid the project as early as March. In March, we'll be able to start bidding if the county gives us conditional. And that would allow us to start construction as early as April. And then they're still anticipating, once we start construction, 20 to 24 months for build time. As long as we don't have any crazy weather or anything that really slows it down. So the hopes are that we can get that conditional permit started. And I was just talking to Sean prior to this meeting, and I'll talk to Chief Wilson after, but we'll probably have to have the chiefs talk to some people of higher power, and hopefully we can push that request through, get this thing going. And then as for another project, we've kind of started the process of a remodel of the kitchen of Station 40. And so we're looking to get bids for that. And I've kind of gone over some drawings with PBK of kind of a new design layout, which would be more functional, and basically updating, since we've kind of been doing this station little by little, but that'll be coming across to the board here in the future once we get some bids and some ideas what that's going to look like for the future.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How many years has the county been reviewing the process to get approval?
I feel like we've been doing this at least 2 years, right?
I mean, it just seems so, but it's been months or years.
Yeah, it's been a very long process and a lot longer than I think any of us would have anticipated with the review process and all the back and forth with.
Is there any major issue?
Mhm.
It just seems absurd to be waiting this long to try to get some action on such a basic bureaucratic item, but that's
Thank you.
my opinion. Okay, very good. And if I understood you, we were on track to bid in March.
If they give us a conditional permit, yeah. So
Okay. Questions? Thank you, Chairman.
yeah, fingers crossed.
Right.
Fingers crossed.
Vegetation Management Committee, Director Cockrell, Director Hammond.
The only comment I would have would be that I didn't present this, it was presented that the state now is apparently getting their mind right about that Caltrans right away. And if I was to understand that they're actually going to do some mitigation,
Yeah, they
hazard mitigation for the whole thing.
some funding's been allocated.
And
The
not just for-
specifics have not been defined yet on
Right.
what that will be. But the conversation is happening, yes.
So, okay, good. That would be the only thing I'd have to talk about.
Anything further?
Nothing further.
Okay. Special District Association, Director Hannah.
I have no current report. Okay.
ALSJPA, there was no meeting, so I have no report. Emergency Preparedness Liaison Report. I guess we don't have that report either, do
Did David Cosgrave send something to me?
I did not receive anything from them.
I didn't either, so.
we? No report. A CERT report. Dr.
Sure.
Carroll.
Thank you. Sir report. We, this past Saturday, had a fun cert refresher here with a bunch of different stations. It was really different than what we've done before. We invited prior certs to come in and go to the stations they wanted to and practice their skills for as long as they wanted to and leave when they wanted to. So we usually marshal them through here in a fairly structured manner. So this was kind of nice. It was so we had 11 neighborhoods represented along with 3 adjacent CERT programs who sent representatives to brush up on their skills. Spring CERT, our big 5-class basic training academy, starts again in March. We have about 40 signups for that. We've rearranged it a little bit, so the impact on the station will be a little bit less. 2 of the classes will be on Zoom, so a little bit less of a home invasion, if you will, for you all. We so appreciate the use of these facilities. The 2 Saturdays we are here, it will be intense. There's a lot of instruction that's going to be going on from 8 to 5 on both of those Saturdays. So that is my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? No? Okay. Moving on, Attorney's report.
Nothing, thank you.
Fire Marshal's report.
We don't have anything new to add that wasn't already discussed.
Thank you. Fire Chief's report.
All right, so the district ran 248 calls for the month of January. There was just under 1,000 hours of training conducted by the employees. And the volunteers received a total of 5 dispatches. And 11 people responded to those 5 dispatches, so it looks about 2 per call probably there. And the fire marshal's office has started to get active for the year, so if it's anything like last year, those numbers are just going to continue to climb. And then our call time is at average 5:21, so well under the required time specification for the ALS-GPA. And some good news on PARS. I had expressed the last couple meetings that I was slightly concerned on the annual or the monthly earnings that was being compounded. This month we earned $61,000 in interest, and our normal distribution is around 19 to 20,000. So we have gone back into the green on that. So that is good to see that needle move. I think that probably has to do with the current stock market and its, I guess, raise for hopefully continue.
The chief mentioned the statistics, but if the member of the public wants to have a copy of this, it's a public document, they can look at it. And I would just note that, in terms of the response time and the number of calls and so forth, Cal Fire just does a one heck of a job. It's really well done for the citizens here on the coast. Thank you very much for that.
One of the things that I always notice, because it speaks to the morale of the district, is the number of employees who leave. And I just happened, I think, to meet the fellow who was showed us leaving here. And he has his own reasons, but he wants to go to Southern California, he's going to Riverside County. It's just, I guess so he was doing that for an ad hoc reason. But I'm amazed at the dearth of turnover as compared with years ago, prior to Cal Fire. It hardly breaks stride coming through here. We pay all the money to recruit and train them, and then poof, next thing you know, the guys at San Bruno or some other fire department, and really recruited training. Anyway, that's just a comment.
Anything else? At the conclusion of this meeting, I'd like to have a discussion on attendees of the board who would like to attend the Found Day. But we don't have to have this on the regular meeting, Mr. Agenda. Anything further? Without objections, we are adjourned. Thank you. Now, let me ask you this. Are you